Welcome to the spooky Halloween edition of the Special Educators Resource Room podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer from Positively Learning. Today, we're going to be facing something that feels universal this time of year. Well, actually, any time of year. It is that terrifying stack of paperwork that somehow grew 3 feet tall on your desk. Whether it's IEPs, data sheets, behavior notes, student work, or meeting handouts that you swore you were going to file later, that stack has a life of its own and is starting to growl. So today I'm going to walk you through how I'd handle that spooky pile before it becomes a paperwork monster. See that Halloween theme? I'm going to be sharing the system that I swear by, what I keep, what I toss, and how I keep the whole thing under control. At least most of the time. Let's dive in. We're going to start off by facing this head on. What is in that paperwork stack anyway? Real talk. Not all paperwork is created equal. Sometimes what's stressing us out isn't the size of the stack. It's that it's full of unknown spooky things. So the first step is taking 5 to 10 minutes to triage what's actually there. So I recommend doing a quick sort into 3 big categories. To do, to file, and to toss or recycle. Let's break it down. To do. Things that still require an action, like a form that needs to be signed, a note to send home, or a meeting to schedule. To file. Things that are done, but still need to be stored, like signed IEPs, assessments, or parent communication logs. And to toss or recycle. You need to be ruthless here. We are facing a monster. If it is a duplicate copy or something that's already stored digitally, which is a lot, you probably don't need it taking up space on your desk. Remember, ruthless is the key word. You don't have to actually do anything with each paper yet. You're just sorting it into one of these 3 piles. Already, that mountain becomes more manageable. Now, if the idea of doing just this first step feels overwhelming, here's a little trick that you can play. Set a 7-minute timer. That's it. No pressure to finish that whole stack. Just make progress in 7 minutes. Because once you get started, you'll usually keep going. Part 2. What are we actually going to keep and why? So you've already completed the triage. Now it's time to get intentional. I used to save everything because I always thought I might need it someday. Spoiler alert, I did not. Now, we're only going to keep paper that you are legally required to keep, like IEPs or signed documents. We're going to keep things that might help you do your job better, like data that you might need to reference. And we're going to keep things that cannot be stored digitally for some reason. Almost everything else, you can either scan it and save it or recycle it. One helpful tip: use a weekly dump folder. This is going to be just a basic literal folder where you can drop any loose papers in during the week. This can be student notes, sticky reminders, quick documentation. Once a week, you can go through it and process anything that's important. If you don't touch it again in the next week or 2, it probably wasn't that important. Another favorite tool: a color-coded action folder system. This is an extra step, but it might be the one that works for you. You could have a red folder for urgent, needs to be done this week. Yellow for waiting on someone else, like a parent signature or admin response. And green, good to go. You can file it or reference it. Everything has a home, and you know where your attention should go first. Part 3. Your end of day reset. This is how you can stop the stack from growing into that spooky monster again. It's all about a 5-minute end of day reset. Even on the wildest days, try to do this. Here's the routine. Clear your work area, just the top of your desk, not the whole classroom, but give yourself a clean visual field to start the next day. You want to check your weekly dump folder. If there's something urgent, you can move it into the action folder system. You can file or toss anything obvious. No guilt, no overthinking, just a little reset that keeps the chaos from building. This reset routine is especially helpful during the last 10 minutes of the school day Maybe students are getting backpacks or they're waiting for dismissal. It's not extra time, it's repurposed time. And if you don't get to it, don't beat yourself up. Just try again tomorrow. My last tip is my secret weapon for staying ahead. Here's the truth. I am not naturally organized. I love organization, but it doesn't come naturally. I personally don't color code everything in my file cabinet, and I'm not alphabetizing my forms. But what I'm good at is making systems simple enough so that I'll actually use them. So my best secret weapon is pairing paperwork with an existing habit. It's called habit stacking. For example, if you're going to review student data, do this while you are sipping your coffee on Mondays. If you're going to update one progress sheet, do this while you're waiting for meetings to start. If you're going to add notes to a student folder, do this right after you finish a lesson while it's fresh in your head. They're not big changes, big habits to make. They're these little micro routines, but they keep things flowing so that you don't end up buried under piles at the end of the month. So let's recap how we're going to tackle this paperwork monster. The first thing we're going to do is triage your stack into 3 piles: to do, to file, to toss. You're only going to keep what serves you or is required. You're going to use a simple action file system with the red, yellow, and green. You're going to end each day with a 5-minute reset, or at least as often as possible. And you're going to pair paperwork with habits that you might already have. This is how you're going to tame the paperwork monster without burning out. And if you are in a season where that paperwork stack is just out of control, you are not failing. You're just really, really busy. So take a deep breath, choose one small step, and give yourself credit for showing up. Thanks for tuning in to this spooky Halloween episode. If this information was helpful, would you consider sharing it with another teacher who's also fighting the paperwork monster? Or please take a second to leave a quick review. It means so much. Thank you so much for being here. I will talk to you next time in the Special Educators Resource Room.
Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'm dying to ask, what'd you think? Be sure to hit the follow or subscribe buttons so that you never miss an episode. You can find the show notes and links for everything mentioned in this episode at positivelylearningblog.com. See you next week for more special education solutions.